Dance of the Dead was released in 1992, written by Christie Golden, at 310 pages. It is the third book in the RAVENLOFT series, and the second to be written by Christie Golden. The book is about the character Larissa Snowmain, who is on the cover there. She is an understudy on a riverboat. She's also the adopted daughter of the captain of that said riverboat. Well, there's a brutal murder upon one of the big stars of the show, the one that Larissa's understudying for. So the riverboat flees the domain and ends up in the domain of Sarange. Now, without giving away too many spoilers, because there's a few twists in this, while in the domain of Sarange, they can't really leave. And the captain of the ship hires a guy named Lond. Lond is turning the shipmates, the crew, into zombies, which are slaves for the captain. Also, Larissa meets a young man, and she kind of becomes romantically involved with him. Now, the captain of the ship turns out to be an evil man, and his wants for Larissa are a little, shall we say, perverted. However, that's not the shock of the book. It's not the shock of the book, because you kind of get from the get-go that he's not a good guy, the captain. So basically, Larissa has to team up with her new friend, learn how to defeat Lond and his ever-growing army of zombies on the boat, and to defeat and confront her adopted father and learn the truth about her past. She ends up having an encounter with the Maiden of the Swamp and Anton Misseroy, the domain lord. Anton Misseroy and his domain are very different from the RAVENLOFT core set that came out 2 years earlier. However, this book does feel a lot more like New Orleans, so the changes are acceptable. Whether or not you like this book is all going to depend on your opinion of the lead character, Larissa Snowmain. I, for one, don't find her that interesting. Now, before I get too deep into the story of this book, on what I think about it, I want to compliment Christie Golden first. Now, Christie Golden is a good writer. Her writing style is easy to read. She knows how to write. She knows how to describe things. So it's not her writing style I have a problem with this book. My problem with this book is that it's just boring to me. I don't care much about Larissa Snowmain. I don't care much about her adventure. It's just the only parts I really cared about in this book was her learning the dance of the dead from Anton Misseroy. And that's it. And that's not very much. Anton really only has kind of like a cameo appearance in this book. So, I'm not a big fan of this book and I don't recommend it. However, there are some pretty major things in this book that would carry over to the campaign setting. Number one is Larissa Snowmain. She will become a NPC in the RAVENLOFT campaign setting later on down the line. The domain and its Dark Lord are changed very much from what was in the campaign setting. Like I said, the domain is now more of a antebellum New Orleans, Louisiana type domain. And all the little animal spirits and the Maiden of the Swamp are brought over into the RAVENLOFT campaign setting. This is their first appearance here in this book. And the biggest retcon is Anton himself. Anton was a zombie lord. His flesh falling off of him, not really articulate, that type of zombie lord. But in this book, he actually is a handsome man who appears normal, very articulate. He's a southern Rhett Butler, if you like for Gone with the Wind. He's kind of like an evil version of that. Now in 1994 with the Red Box, the campaign setting would retcon Anton and make him like he is in this book. So there is that for that. So she did influence Ravenloft enough with this book to make the campaign setting more like this book, and the domain has stayed that way, and its lore has stayed that way ever since. So Dance of the Dead, yes, it does have some pretty historic things for what it did to the campaign setting, but honestly I find the book a little boring. Again, not my cup of tea. I should think Vampires of the Mist is better than this one, so yeah, I wouldn't recommend it that much at all. Larissa Snowmane is a dancer aboard a magical riverboat. For years the craft has traveled in Ravenloft, unopposed by the sinister beings that rule over the dark domains. When the boat arrives at the zombie-plagued island of Sarange, however, the crew finds itself dancing to chilling music indeed. After discovering the captain's sinister secret, Larissa must rely upon the creatures of the swamp and her mastery of the magical Dance of the Dead to save her own soul. Dance of the Dead is the third in an open-ended series of gothic horror tales dealing with the masters and monsters of the Ravenloft dark fantasy setting.